The throne room pulsed with living light, its walls alive with veins of energy. Silence fell when the small child darted past guards and clung to the shackled human, voice ringing with an innocent cry that echoed like thunder. "Father." Whispers rippled through the assembly, scandal blooming in every alien heart. The queen's eyes burned with fury as she rose, her voice cutting sharper than any blade, demanding an explanation that none dared give. How could her bloodline's offspring claim kinship with a human prisoner? It was not trickery, the bond was too primal, too raw. The human did not cower. His gaze met hers with steady defiance, words spoken with dangerous calm. He did not deny the child's claim. Instead, he cast doubt on the very foundations of her empire, daring to suggest that her people's supremacy was not unshakable truth but fragile illusion. The queen's courtiers hissed in outrage, but unease poisoned their certainty. He was supposed to be a broken captive, yet he stood as though he carried a secret greater than their empire. Rage warred with confusion in the queen's chest. Purity of blood was law. Any cross with lesser species was blasphemy punishable by death. She had crushed such heresies herself without hesitation. Yet the child's cries cut deeper than any law, a bond no doctrine could explain. When her guards pulled the child away, the little one fought with unnatural strength, screaming for the human, the sound twisting even hardened warriors into doubt. The queen forced herself to appear unshaken, but beneath the mask, cracks spread. She ordered her scientists to uncover the truth. Dissection, tests, proof, whatever it took. Still, unease gnawed at her. For all her decrees, nothing could erase the sound of that innocent voice binding her bloodline to a human's defiance. And as the prisoner was dragged to the cells, his final words followed her like a shadow. "Your empire was built on lies. This child is proof of that." The queen summoned her daughter into the chamber where no eyes could pry. The air between them was heavier than stone, sharpened by betrayal. The daughter did not kneel. She met her mother's fury with a steadiness that only deepened the wound. She confessed without hesitation. Her choice had not been weakness, nor corruption, but deliberate rebellion. She had studied the human under captivity, seen in him a resilience her kind had long abandoned, and she had sought to merge that strength with her own lineage. The queen's rage flared, demanding to know why. The daughter's voice did not falter. She spoke of curiosity that transcended fear, of admiration for a will that endured every cruelty the empire inflicted, yet still adapted, learned, and endured. Where aliens mastered dominance, humans mastered survival. In that survival, she saw possibility. The human had been no mere subject. He had taught her, challenged her, even improved the sciences of her people. While others saw a prisoner, she had seen a path into a future that rigid tradition would never allow. The queen turned her fury upon the human, who stood unbroken as she demanded answers. He spoke of nights spent dissecting alien machines with nothing but his mind, of unlocking secrets that even her most loyal scientists had overlooked. He spoke of building knowledge under chains, of finding freedom in understanding. He had not been her prisoner. He had been a student of her empire's arrogance. Every attempt to bend him had only given him sharper edges. And when her daughter asked him to join in forbidden science, he had agreed, not out of desire, but from conviction that knowledge must always push boundaries. The experiment had been reckless. No one believed such a child could survive gestation. Yet against law and nature alike, the child lived. Not frail, not broken, but thriving. Proof that the impossible had been made flesh. Proof that humanity's spark could merge with alien strength. The queen tried to summon disgust, but the vision of her grandchild, laughing, learning, and defying, haunted her every thought. Inside, war ignited. As monarch, her hand should strike them down. As mother, betrayal demanded punishment. Yet as grandmother, she saw undeniable truth. The child was hers, bound to her blood. And if the child lived, then perhaps her empire's certainty was already broken. To admit it would unravel everything. To deny it would mean killing her own blood. Her mind turned to politics. Enemies circled always, eager to exploit weakness. If the truth escaped, rivals would call her unfit, demand the eradication of child and father alike. But if she silenced them, if she destroyed the evidence, she would also destroy her own line. That single choice pressed upon her like the weight of galaxies. The human's voice cut into her thoughts like steel. He warned that empires built on fear could not last forever. That evolution, whether embraced or denied, always carved its path. His words poisoned her certainty, yet beneath the poison lay an unsettling possibility that he was right. She dismissed the chamber with a command that shook the air. No answer, no judgment, not yet. But in the privacy of her heart, cracks deepened. The future was shifting, and for the first time, she feared that her empire's survival no longer rested on power alone, but on the forbidden truth born in the cry of a child who should never have existed. Rumors spread faster than fire through dry fields, and soon the empire's lords gathered in uproar. They demanded answers, demanded blood, demanded purity restored. Some called for the human's execution, others for the erasure of the child, a few whispering that perhaps destiny itself had spoken. The queen listened from her throne, her fury a mask hiding the storm within. Every word struck her with the same weight. The scandal had already escaped. Dragged before the assembly, the human stood without fear. Chains rattled, yet his voice rose steady, cutting through the venom of the court. He did not beg, he did not excuse. Instead, he declared that her empire had reached its limits. Her kind had mastered conquest, but not growth, had perfected control, but not creation. Humanity, he said, was different. Broken, scattered, fragile, yet endlessly adaptable. That child was not corruption but proof that survival favored change, not stagnation. His words rang with conviction, and even the most hostile lords faltered as doubt slid into their minds. The queen's gaze turned to the child, who clutched a piece of alien technology and activated it with ease, responding both to human voice and alien command. The assembly gasped. The child was no accident of science. It was possibility incarnate, bridging two worlds with instinctive mastery. Its eyes glimmered with intelligence far beyond its years, curiosity sparking like fire. No experiment, no trick, but undeniable life that carried the strength of two species in one frame. The queen's rage surged. Her pride urged her to end this abomination, to silence scandal with blood. Her hand hovered over the command that would erase father and child in a heartbeat. Yet before the order fell, the child turned toward her, voice trembling but clear, whispering one word that shattered her resolve: grandmother. The sound rippled through the chamber like a blade, silencing every tongue. It was not the human's manipulation, nor her daughter's rebellion, but the pure instinct of blood calling blood. The court froze. For the first time in memory, the queen hesitated. Her enemies smelled weakness, her allies faltered in confusion, and still the child's small hand reached toward her, not with fear, but with trust. The queen's chest tightened under a weight she had never known. This was no mere scandal. This was the unraveling of everything she believed, and the birth of something her empire had never prepared for. She lowered her hand, leaving judgment suspended. The decision could not be delayed forever, but the moment demanded pause. Outside the palace, factions sharpened their blades. War drums rumbled, whispers of rebellion spread, and the future of her throne teetered on a knife's edge. The child's existence had set the galaxy on fire. The council assembled in fury, voices clashing like blades. They demanded the queen purge the stain or step aside. Some called for execution of the human, others for the erasure of the child, all invoking law and purity. Their ultimatum was clear: protect tradition or lose the throne. The queen sat unmoving, her gaze fixed on the two beings who had set her empire aflame. She felt the eyes of her bloodline's future locked on her, waiting for judgment. The human did not bow, did not tremble. He stood beneath the weight of 1,000 threats as though they were dust. His words cut sharper than any weapon. He spoke not of mercy, but of survival. Empires that clung to yesterday, he said, would crumble before tomorrow. Humanity's gift was not strength of arm or purity of blood, but the power to adapt, to endure, to create where others could only preserve. He warned of storms rising in the void, forces neither empire nor tradition could withstand alone. With humans, survival was possible. Without them, extinction was certain. The court seethed, but his conviction was unshaken. The queen felt the clash of two worlds within her, the absolute certainty of law against the undeniable truth of evolution. The child, born of defiance, had survived what should have been impossible. It was not weakness, but proof of potential. The queen realized that to kill them would be to chain her empire to a dying past. To protect them would shatter the laws she had built her reign upon, but open a door to survival her people had never imagined. Her decision rose like fire through her veins. She stood, silencing the storm of voices with a single command. Her decree fell, not as ruler protecting pride, but as a monarch embracing future. The child was declared heir, the living bridge of two species, the symbol of strength reborn. The human would not be executed but bound to her court, not as prisoner, but as advisor. Outrage erupted, lords spat their venom, rivals threatened rebellion, yet none could deny the child's existence nor erase the bond of blood that tied them all. The queen's words carried finality. She declared that her empire would no longer wither in the shadow of law. It would grow, evolve, and rise anew. Those who opposed could leave or be crushed. For the first time, she felt not chains of tradition but the weight of destiny. The child's eyes reflected both her lineage and the spark of humanity, a fire that promised more than survival. It promised transformation. When the chamber cleared and silence returned, the queen allowed herself a breath. The human stood at her side, no longer just a captive, but a part of the path forward. She looked upon the child and whispered the truth she had fought to deny. The future would not belong to her people alone. The human answered without hesitation, his voice carrying the certainty of one who had always known. It never did.